FC Bayern München. FC Bayern München. Hello, welcome back, guys. I am live right now, a little bit delayed by around 2 minutes, but don't worry, we've got a lot to talk about today. Gotta get some frustration out. Definitely got to do that. We're talking strikers today. Manchester United been linked with a few strikers this morning. Of course, after the 5-2 aggregate defeat to Sevilla, which... how do we even start to analyse that game? That is the big thing. But welcome to Ewan in the chat, giving a little bit of a little bit of verbal. 170 points in FPL, Ewan. You know what, mate? I'm coming. I've got a plan, don't you worry. Never write an old dog off. Got Khan in the chat as well. Andrew Miller. Dave, we need Diogo Carlos. No knee-jerk reaction. It's needed to be addressed for years now. Costa fits the bill. Enoch with some laughing emojis at Manchester United. I think that's fully deserved. Don't get me wrong. It was embarrassing yesterday. Morning to a guarded viewer. Mush in the chat as well. Lewis, Donovan, Ericsson gonna take over. But guys, we're going to be looking into that today. We're also going to be talking about Arsenal. They've got a massive game in the Premier League today. And look, any Man United fans in the chat, unfortunately now, we're all going to have to become Arsenal fans for the rest of the season because City could win the treble. And we do not want that to happen as Manchester United fans. Any City fans, get into the chat as well. Do you think you're going to do it this season? Man United have got a massive game at Wembley on Sunday. It's this type of season. We've got to forget about the last result and move forward and push to that next game. I'm going to be down in Wembley with the lads, with the Flares. So hopefully that'll lead to Man United beating Brighton. We're going to analyse that as we go as well. Talk a little bit about Sheffield United versus Manchester City as well. I think that is a little bit of a dead rubber though, to be quite honest, with City's quality this season with Haaland. It's already kind of game, set, match, which is kind of Man United's biggest problem. Or, I don't know what's the biggest problem. What is the biggest problem, do you think, for Manchester United in terms of positions? Get into the chat, guys. Just get in the chat. There's a whole host of problems. If we're going to be brutally breaking it down, honestly, there is so many issues. But what is the biggest problem? Do get involved. Dave Kenya from Kenya. Good to see you. Ed, yesterday was the easiest on paper. We have no chance versus Brighton. You see, I'm going to give us a little bit of hope versus Brighton. I really do think United have got the capabilities to beat them. It's whether they turn up. It's the classic United problem over the last 10 years. The team lacks that mentality. I miss Martinez, guys. I just missed the guy. You know, missed Bruno Fernandes yesterday, missed them all. Mush is jumping into the chat saying a striker is what Man United need, the biggest issue. Lewis is saying a ball-playing defence. That is quite a big one, but yes, I think a ball-playing defence is also a big issue. PK saying we need to get rid of David De Gea in the future. These are all really valid points, guys. Ewan, did you see the article that came out to say United need to sell this summer for FFP? Ewan, this has been a ticking time bomb that the Glazers have set up for United. The whole paying for transfers in futures is absolutely bonkers. Putting a transfer cost over 4 to 5 seasons, you're going to have to pay for that eventually. United are such a mess. It really winds me up sometimes. It really does. Like, you're thinking what we've done with the squad is garbage. How much money have we spent on this squad, like, to put this together? And it's still not at the level that it needs to be for United to compete for trophies, for United to compete for the top honours. And it's kind of like, where are we? Why have we spent everything in futures as well? It's just it's just stupid. It really is. Head on hands moment, guys. Head on hands. Radu in the chat. 1 to 13 odds for United to finish top 4. United to finish top 4. I think they are the most consistent out of the teams around there, I do believe. Brian getting involved as well. I went through his squad last night, had 21 players wanting to leave. I had all the goalkeepers out the door, so probably the first place to start. Very good point. Andrew Miller in the chat as well. I'm now thinking we should take a punt on the cheaper striker and sort of the goalkeeping position. XNTR1C. Kane, Kim Min-jae, Diogo Costa. That would be one hell of a summer, that would be. I'd love that summer. That's a great suggestion. Kim Min-jae is, one hell of a footballer. And, for me, he's been the best centre-half in the Champions League this season. And I think they missed him in that second leg. Kim Min-jae, honestly, guys, I think this guy is like top tier. He's got everything you need for a centre-half. Quality on the ball, good at carrying out, patient in possession. Then you look at his physicals. Strong, quick, powerful, wins his duels. This is the type of player United need. It really is. You look at the statistics. 66% of his aerial duels won. 61% of his ground duels won. If you remember, guys, when we're talking about these duel percentages, anything over 60% is proper elite. Absolutely elite. When you break that down in terms of his pass accuracy as well, it's great. 90%, 72 passes completed, 91 touches per game. This kid is just absolutely brilliant. And yeah, look, susceptible to certain players and games, but Milan have got the hoodoo over Napoli for some strange reason. Anyway, Kim Min-jae, one of the best defenders in European football. I would buy him tomorrow. If I could pick the players, I'd buy Kim Min-jae, I'd buy a goalkeeper, and I'd buy a centre forward. And then I'd buy number 6 and number 8. I'd buy 5 players in the summer. You have, there's nothing else. We have to spend money. And like Ewan's saying, there's an issue there where you're not going to, there's no cash available because of how it's happened. And it's so frustrating. So frustrating, guys. Andrew Miller's going for Diogo Costa, Kim Min-jae, Uar, and Højlund. The Diogo Costa thing, I like. I think he's got a lot of potential going forward. But why not just buy Andre Onana? Andre Onana has been brilliant in the Champions League this season. He is a brilliant footballer. He is the best footballing goalkeeper on the planet, in my opinion. The football that he played with Ajax under Ten Hag was brilliant. Why don't we just go into Milan and we offer them some cash for a goalkeeper that's ready to play the style? And that's the other flip side of things. Mazraoui released a little statement yesterday. Of course, ex-Ajax as well, at Bayern Munich at the moment. Released a statement basically saying, he worked really hard to get into the team under the main man, Julian Nagelsmann, was playing really well. Primer game, 6-1 against Werder Bremen, 2 assists in that match, inverted in the number 10 position, 3 chances created, 95% pass accuracy, 2 assists. Look at that little inside right position. Mazraoui, creme de la creme of European football in terms of inverted fullbacks. I'm now down the line of Diogo Dalot at left back, Mazraoui at right back. That is what I would do. Personally, that is what this guy would do. Develop Diogo Dalot into one of the best inverted wing backs on the planet. Spend some cash on bringing Mazraoui. He wants to leave Bayern Munich. We talked Bayern Munich. Where the hell has Ryan Gravenberch been? In this game, 19 minutes. This kid is one of the most perfect deep line sixes moving into the 8th position United could buy. This guy is brilliant. Again, another player that could be recruited for a relatively cheap amount. Worked for Ten Hag previously. And that's where we got to start to look, because some of these lads that are playing football for United at the moment don't fit the style. And it's not a bad thing. Look, players are spent, there's a lot of money that's spent on players and so forth, and they come in and they operate for certain managers and they work. Some of these players aren't good enough for Erik Ten Hag because Erik Ten Hag wants to play a certain style. We know that Ryan Gravenberch, Mazraoui know how to play. Andre Onana, there's 3 players that he's previously worked with, and that is what Man United need. They need to move things on, and I think that's very, very important. Gravenberch, 30 million euro. You've got Onana, 35 million euro. You've got Mazraoui that could be that 90 million. You've sorted out your goalkeeper, your number 8, and you've sorted out your right back position. There's still more to be done, as I mentioned before. Centre-back, goalkeeper, striker. This is the problem. Dave, without a takeover, we're going nowhere. Let's be realistic. We cannot raise enough money for 130 million through sales. It depends how much we've got to start with, Radu, I think. And then it's like we just got to get players off the wage bill and sell them. Simple as that. We're just in this position, aren't we? This awful position. Stuart in the chat. Dave, Dalot can't defend. We need fullbacks who can defend. I think the myth on Diogo Dalot not being able to defend has been a little bit dispelled this season. Stuart, I think he's been really good. That's my personal opinion on it. And all I'd say is watch him a little bit more, especially in this left-back position from a defensive perspective. I'm talking the Nottingham Forest game. I think what Diogo's very, very good at is defending that central space. So have another look at him. from a defensive position. I think he's massively improved in that in his game. I think he's taken on himself to improve. What I believe a footballer needs to have in this position, in this sort of era of football, is that ability to improve, that ability to be coached. Diogo Dalot has got that. That is a quality that I look for in a player. And I think he has improved this season defensively. You flip to the other side of Aaron Wan-Bissaka, that's good defensively, but awful on the ball. Like, we can't have that anymore. We just can't have that. That is a big, big reason. You know, Erik ten Hag took him off yesterday, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He was absolutely atrocious on the ball. For a fullback to complete 11 passes in 45 minutes in the modern game is just shit. Excuse my language. It's just really bad. 0 crosses, 0 chances created. You know, 0 dribbles completed out of 1. It's just not good enough. It really is so important in the modern game. And you need a fullback to attack. And Diogo Dalot is that guy. I believe that down to an absolute T. And you're looking at, that's a position that United don't really, like, it's not massively important. Like, the keeper is the most important thing right now. David De Gea has been a great servant for Man United, and look, he's got the clean sheet record. He's going to go down as a good goalkeeper for United, you know, one of the best. You know, he's not Edwin van der Sar, he's not Peter Schmeichel levels, because those two were creme de la creme of European football. Good goalkeeper. You know, he's been with us through a bit of a dodgy spell. I feel a bit sorry for him in a sense. He would do well to go back to someone like Atletico Madrid or a team that needs a shot-stopping goalkeeper, and that's how they play defensively, that they don't, you know, not massively geared on possession. We saw yesterday how, you know, what do you do? 2 of the goals. Number 1, don't play that shouldn't be playing the pass into Harry Maguire. Number 2, the sweeping was awful. And that's it. David De Gea is, you know, it doesn't suit Erik ten Hag, and that was my initial point. You have to have players that suit Erik ten Hag for United to progress and United to move on. Simple as that. Like, that has to happen. Otherwise, United are going to be stuck, and they need a ball-playing goalkeeper. Diogo Carlos or Andre Onana. Andre Onana would be my number 1 choice. 100%. You know, and you look at him when he's got into the Inter Milan team, he's been brilliant. He's been absolutely brilliant. The performance against Porto was one of the best goalkeeping displays I've seen in a long time. Fantastic. You know, the other keeper that I'd look at for, you know, for the quality, Mike Maignan, has been absolutely sensational. Against Napoli, he was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I think he's pretty decent on the ball, got quality on his feet. You know, they're the 2 that I'd probably have over Diogo Carlos. But I think Diogo Carlos is very, very good. Seth, hey Dave, saw you outside Hotel Football for the Brentford game. I'd like De Gea to be kept around and Raya bought in. I like Raya as well. I'm just starting to think we need players that fit the Erik ten Hag system, and the more players that have worked under him previously that are still young, that can still work, should be bought. That's the strategy that I would be going with as a DOF right now, because at the moment there is no strategy. And there is a big problem, and goalkeepers is a big one, and that's where we've started today. Let's move on to the kind of the subject of this video. You know, blank would have kept United in Europe. I fully believe that. Anthony Martial was very, very poor yesterday, and you know, there's time to, you know, pretend that he can be the player that we want, and then there's other time where you have to accept it that he is just not that guy. And he's not. And that's the problem. Like, how many examples do we want of it? Yesterday, he was absolutely atrocious. 1 shot blocked in the entire game. He's so slow in possession. He's so slow in the final third. I don't mean speed-wise. I mean mentally he slows himself down too much. Same with Jadon Sancho. If Jadon Sancho continually starts chopping back onto his right foot and slows the game down, he is going to get nowhere. His game is so one-dimensional at the moment. People criticise Anthony wrongly, in my opinion, for him having a one-dimensional game. He absolutely doesn't have a one-dimensional game. Yesterday was our best player, and we just stopped getting the ball to Anthony. You know, in the first half, he was really involved in the game. Second half, he just wasn't. 4 chances created, 1 big chance created, 2 shots. It was a weird one. I thought he was phenomenal in the first half in spells. And he's a player that is developing. Go back to watch Monday's review this Monday. Watch Monday's review the Monday before. There's a real trajectory of a player improving. We've got to be open to that. Whereas the flip side on the other flank, what is going on? So I think one of the big issues for United is obviously that. But United have a proper forward. United win that game. It's as simple as that. Like, even in the first leg, we missed so many chances. Like, we just should not be out the Europa League. It's monumentally frustrating. You think about the goals. Own goal. Really bad possession play, David De Gea giving them the ball, Harry Maguire losing it. The header from the corner came off the fella's shoulder, and then we have the last goal where David De Gea just brain blows up. And I think, in a sense, like, Sevilla aren't a good side, and that is the biggest frustration about it. They're just not a good side. They are nowhere near any of the Emery sides. They're just not. But when you're looking at forwards for Manchester United, there are players that can come in and change this. The first one, young, 20 years old, Danish, played his football for Copenhagen, then moved to Austria to play for Sturm Graz. This kid's got humongous potential. And one of the big things I'd say with Højlund in terms of his style, which is exciting, is there's one player that I am reminded of when I watch Højlund, and that is Erling Haaland. And that is the style that we're starting to see emerge from Scandinavia. Haaland, obviously, from Norway. Højlund from Denmark. Very, very similar, which is really weird. Both super fast for their size. Both big, big players. Both finish off their left foot. Both are very, very good in the left side of the box. And I think when you look at the difference, maybe, in a sense, I think Haaland is obviously the bigger package. I think Haaland is probably much better holding the ball up at the moment in terms of you going direct to him. But I'd say Højlund is much better defensively. Much better pressing. And that's another big thing. Like, without Weghorst, we can't press. With Weghorst, we can't score goals. So buy one that can do both. Højlund. In terms of his pressure, this season's been very, very good. He's scored 3 goals following pressing actions, twice closing down goalkeepers where he's just absolutely exploded. He is that quick. And once pressurising a centre-half for Sturm Graz when he was playing Red Bull Salzburg. Again, the best team in Austria. This kid's got it. He really, really does. This season, 14 goals and 6 assists in club football for Sturm Graz and for Atalanta, of course, who he's at now. Got a great timing, it appears, in terms of, when he's making those deep runs, let's say the ball's on the flank, and he's making those deep runs after linking the play. He's got really good timing. But the thing that's, like, frightening about him is the speed from deep. If you ever watch City play live with Haaland, he's like... When you watch him live, you understand how fast he is. And it's from deep where you're like, wow, he is just bursting past players. And that's something that Højlund has got in abundance. I think he's got the quality to score a lot of different type of goals. I think there is a lot of work that he could do potentially on the right-hand side of the box. He scored a really nice goal, actually, against Spezia. He's playing against Kivor, who Arsenal have signed. And he basically, like, stops it with his right foot, accelerates back on his left foot, and then finishes back across the goalkeeper. Really good goal. But he needs to definitely score more from these types of positions, right-hand side of the box. Got left-hand side of the box, centre of the box, absolutely locked down. But it's like we've seen with Rashford this season. Rashford is scoring goals all across the penalty area. Højlund needs to do that. Great fit. But hold-up play needs to massively improve for it, compared to Evan Ferguson, who I am also a massive fan of Evan Ferguson. What Man United should be in the position to do right now, just to finish off this little Højlund chat, is buy 2 strikers. That's the position that we should be in, it with what we have, with what Man United is as an institution, with how the planning should have gone down. Like, we should be buying 2 strikers. We should be buying Højlund, and we shouldn't just be buying 1 striker. And that's what, that's been the cock-up. How else do we look at it? We've got a squad of 22 players. We've got no strikers, basically. Got no quality strikers. And when you're looking at the quality, there's 2 main options really there. Victor Osimhen, who I think is a wonderful player, really good last line player, perfect in a penalty area. He struggled against Milan though this week. In the Champions League, obviously, creme de la creme of European football. He really struggled to get into the game. Yes, he was coming back from injury. Yes, he scored. I know it sounds a bit weird saying that, but at the same time, he wasn't in the game. He struggled to get involved. In terms of, Napoli, they struggled to create with him as well. He kept on crossing the ball from deep. One player in the penalty area. It just wasn't involved. 9 passes completed in the game. I think against low blocks, you've got to get involved in the football side of things. You've got to become that interfeet. You've got to become that hold-up man, which I've seen Osimhen do that before. United need it right now, though, is the question. And that's kind of where you look at the other options on the market. I think if Victor Osimhen joined United, he would be brilliant. I've been watching him since he played for Lille in Liga. He's been brilliant for a long time. He's got a lot of quality. But I think a Harry Kane instantly changes United's setup. It changes what they do. The question is whether that could happen. But you're looking for perfect forward when you're thinking, United are playing with these 3 central eights, as Erik ten Hag's teams do. Harry Kane is arguably the most perfect player to play that role. He is the best player in European football in my position off the line at the moment, in terms of being involved in the play, playing those expansive passes out wide, linking, controlling things, but then getting into the penalty area. He's evolved into a complete forward, and his quality in the penalty area is above Victor Osimhen. It's above Højlund, and that's the player that United should buy. Simple as that. The issue is obviously the cost. So Seth in the chat goes, I'd say Kane and Ferguson. So I think that's a great shout. I think Kane and Ferguson. I think Kane and Højlund. That's what United should be in the position to do. They haven't spent big on a centre forward for how long? When was the last time Man United bought a proper centre forward? Martial? Falcao? It's been a long time coming. And it really has. Robin van Persie? 2013 or 12 that was. 2012. That's 10 years ago. That's 10 years of United putting money in the bank to save for a striker. Ed in the chat, Dave, in my opinion, half a season for a teenager is too small a window to judge whether a player like Ferguson is good enough. If we signed him, then load him back straight out for a year. I think that's absolutely spot on, but I kind of see the quality of Ferguson. I get it. I get the quality of Højlund. One of the biggest things in scouting is being able to predict the future, which is impossible. It's impossible, straight up. So you make a very good point, Ed, but I also think that there's things I see in those 2 players that is really, really good. And when you listen to De Zerbi talk about Ferguson, that should give you another situation where you're thinking, this kid's good in there. Lukaku, Alex, sorry. I completely forgot about Lukaku. So Lukaku was when? It's probably 5 years ago. Let's take a look at that. That's a great point. Again, the chat is always elite levels on these streams. So Lukaku was bought in 2017. So Lukaku was signed 5 years ago. You got to forget Ronaldo. You got to forget Cavani. They aren't serious players for spending big on a striker. Both are cheap. Both at the end of their career. They're not like in the prime type forwards, and that's the point. Lukaku was the last one that United bought at that price. And again, was that a right recruitment decision? I'm not too sure. Big shout out to Craig as well in the chat. DJ Hammer, what's with the backline? It's just holding at the moment, mate. Just ignore this section here in the box. Just pretend it's not real. Pretend it's not there. And then we'll live better lives. We live better lives. We've got Varane, who's, again, another player that's been signed that's injury prone. This is the prime example of why you don't buy old players that are injury prone. They're not consistent. You have problems. You don't have a settled defence. Ibra, but Ibra, again, cheap. Falcao, again, cheap. And Lukaku is the last prime striker that we signed. Flying. Opinions on Sabitzer? I thought he was sensational against Sevilla. At home, that's been his peak game. I would not be signing him at the moment. If we are brutal, I love Marcel Sabitzer. I've enjoyed watching him play for a long, long time. But if we are serious, Ryan Gravenberch is like another level to him. And again, United have got to think long term. If Caicedo goes this summer, Man United have to be involved in that question as well. They really, really do. Vlahovic, Craig, as well. That's another elite level striker. I'd put him in that mix of Kane, Vlahovic, Osimhen. I'd rather have... My priority list would be Kane top, Vlahovic second, Osimhen third, and then in my young strikers list would probably be, I don't know whether it's Ferguson, Højlund. That's a tough one, real tough one. Yeah, James could have been a shout putting Jaden, but Jaden was so stinky last night. Really, really bad. But I don't want to offload Gravenberch yet, but I think there's some... You put enough cash on the table, obviously you could get it done. PK in the chat, we shouldn't sign Sabitzer. Jonathan David, check his sofa score this season from Scott. You know how much I love Jonathan David. Any excuse to bring that young man in. Again, Man United should have bought Jonathan David when he was in Belgium. It was obvious. You know, you go back to any of the content we've created over the last, X amount of years. I've been banging on about Jonathan David. And the frustration is that, like, it was... Like, if I'm working in football, I know about this guy in Belgium. You watch him in Belgium, he was a top-quality footballer. You watch how he plays in Belgium, and there's real quality there. And then this season, again, like, he's top class. And you look at his statistics from this season. 20 goals, 4 assists in 30 games. Fantastic. 3 shots per game. Leading the line now. He's now become that final kind of form Jonathan David in a sense of, he's played as a second striker behind Yilmaz last season. Now he's the main guy through the middle. Real quality. Angel Gomez as well. Really nice to see him play consistently. Fantastic talent. United need a real slap on the hand for not developing someone like Angel. Like, it's pathetic. We need a video on your dream squad. Hey, Craig, I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to do that next week. We've got to do that. First Canadian to score 20 goals in the French League. I love that Canadian football is emerging. Some of my favourite players in world football with that. And I think the interesting side with this as well, like United, obviously, they get knocked out in the Europa League because they didn't have a number 9. They could have literally, like, they could have simply just gone, right, let's look for a forward that's good at receiving to feet and get him in the short term. Oh, there's one that moved for not much money called Moffey that's scored 3 goals in 4 games in the Conference League for Nice. But in Liga this season, 16 goals and 2 assists. This guy is great. This guy is a very, very good forward. He moved in January. He was available in January. How much was the price, you ask? Let's go a little quick Google. Here we go. What was the fee? 30 million euros. This guy's got it. No cap. Don't need to mess about with these things. This kid is brilliant. Really good footballer. Love his little technique. Very nice footballer. Loves the ball to feet. Really good to feet. Technical, skillful. Playing for Lorient. Could have bought him in Jan. Literally could have bought him on Jan. Like, in Jan, it's bonkers to me. It is like... There was players available in the market. We knew that we had no centre forwards. We had no money. That, again, the issue of them spending and delaying it over years. So you basically don't take the financial cost up front. Like, it's insane. It's an insane way to do things. Like, you basically get to a point where your costs get so big because you've not paid the cash that you basically owe all this money on transfer fees, which eats into your budget like 4 years down the line. It's just... head on hands moment. Should have kept Ralph Rangnick as sporting director. Absolutely, Mark. I think we'll basically find out over time that they didn't want to do what Ralph was suggesting. So Ralph was just like, well, see you then, guys. Good luck. I can't fix this mess. Ralph Rangnick was the best thing to happen to Man United, or could have been the best thing to happen to Manchester United. And that them appointing him as the coach was so stupid. Just look at the fella's skill set. You look at anything in any walk of life. You guys have all got jobs or not got jobs. You've worked with people. Your mum and dad have got jobs, right? You just look at these things and you think, so you've hired a guy as a consultant for the sporting side of it. Recruitment, academy, how to build things up. And then you've just gone and put him as your coach. The fella's not coached since 2017. bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Sport gang in the chat. What do you think of Tyremi from Porto? Think he'd be great for Erik ten Hag. He's a player that's only moved to Europe pretty late in his career. I think his career is going to elongate. So you got to think of Tyremi as a little bit younger than he is. Because he's not really been in England that long. Oh, not England, sorry. Not been in Europe that long. 30 years old. He's probably actually like a 24-year-old potentially. Absolutely quality. 14 goals, 6 assists in the league. Last season, looking at 20 goals, 12 assists. Great forward. Really good linking players together. Would be a perfect Erik ten Hag forward. Would be a really, really good quality player. Like I think he's brilliant. I really do. Really like how he plays. Sporting Gang, shout out to you as well, my friend. Hopefully everything's okay with you. Patterson, is this a United channel? It's almost only base United content. Make sure you have a look at the rest of the videos. We do Arsenal videos. We do Premier League videos. And of course, we're going to be talking about the Premier League today. Arsenal, big game against Southampton. That is to come. But we have to talk about Man United because that is the current position we're in. United just got spanked by Sevilla. We are trying to get our vent our anger out, guys, and this is a public place for that. Don't get too angry. We just got to talk about it from an analytical perspective. Statman, would you take Statman Dave from Brighton? Absolutely. His development has been humongous under De Zerbi. Really good footballer now. Thought it was quite one-dimensional at Villarreal. Wide wing back would just get into the final third, cross. Now we're seeing a top footballer. We really are. James, like signing Frankie de Jong and playing him in net. Yeah, similar to that, which is the problem. I'd get Levi Colwill as a left-sided backup. Kick Lindelof as a backup for Varane. Give Bernard at right centre-back too. Yeah, interesting. Radu, Dave, we enjoy the United talk. Keep going, my friend. Molina for right-back, Dave. What you saying, Craig? Matarawi's got to be the number one for me. Another name, Victor Boniface. Thoughts? I'm not seeing much of him, actually. Where's he playing? Where's the cheeky guy playing? For SG Union. They've obviously connected with Brighton, which means he'll probably be sick. I'll have to take a look at him. I haven't watched much from the Belgium League, to be quite honest. Gilberto, Greece, enough is enough. United must recover. FA Cup is mandatory. Do you doubt Ten Hag's quality? Can he win us the league? No, not at all. Ten Hag will win Man United the league if he's given the right resources and the right players. That is the problem. How are Brighton so good at finding all these young talents, buying a couple of these and then selling them for 60 million? Jacob, they've got so much data. Have a look at the owner of Brighton. Have a look at his business. It's a betting company that basically bets on arbitrage. So they have a massive amount of data. So big. Gav in the chat. Dave, love the channel. How did United end up with the most expensive goalkeeper in the world? It was also statistically the worst. Yes, that is a very, very good point. When you're looking at the actual goalkeeping stats this season, they aren't pretty reading, unfortunately, guys. Don't say it too loud, though, because people might get upset. David De Gea, on the top of things, most clean sheets in the Premier League this season. But, we don't just do a top-level stats on this show. We are bigger and better than that. Advanced goalkeeping statistics is what we like to look at. When looking at post-shot expected goals this season in the Premier League, David De Gea is on a minus 2.4, which means he's conceded 2.4 more goals than he should have conceded. So he is underperforming expected goals. And then he's not very good on the ball as well, but don't say it too loud. Frustration. Big frustration. Got some really exciting things coming as well, guys. I've got a little side hustle that's going to be with you people very, very soon. Anyone who likes coffee, this is for you. Guarded View, have you ever considered becoming a data scientist for United, Dave? I have considered the data science route, so I might do that in my spare time. My aim at the moment is to get to the director of football level. That's the game. That's the vision. 32 at the moment. So we're talking maybe, a few years. Taking that, I think I'd enjoy it. Just want to complete media first, and then we'll move in. You know what I'm saying? There's an article on Brighton's recruitment, which is good, on The Athletic. Shout out to Action Live. Do you think we need a new goalkeeper? We don't need a new goalkeeper. We really need a goalkeeper, massively. The whole possession thing is so important, modern day. When David De Gea has thrown stinkers, 5.6s with an error leading to goal, or 2 errors leading to goals, you got big problems. for United. But guys, let's move on and change our focus to a little bit of Premier League chat. Again, we're not just a Man United channel here. We love the Premier League. All you guys must love the Premier League, and all the Man United fans in the chat. Unfortunately, guys, it is now time to get your Arsenal hats on. City could win the Premier League, could win the FA Cup, and win the Champions League. One of the holy grails Man United have completed in European football, of course, is the treble. And you know what we don't want? Man City doing that. So unfortunately, I know you might not like it. Look, I like Arsenal. I think I've got big respect for them. The rivalry, they're not bankrolled by a big load of cash. They've done it the right way. They've got a young squad. They've got a great young manager in Mikel Arteta. I'd say that aesthetically the best team in the Premier League in terms of creation, goals, pressing. How they play is brilliant. I love Brighton, don't get me wrong. I think Brighton, Arsenal, two best teams in the league for me. But I'd say Arsenal tip it. We need Arsenal to do us a favour here. So we've got to get behind them. I know that sounds like something you don't want to do, guys. But we've got to back them. They are the heroes here. But the big problem, obviously, with Arsenal, the last two games, 2 goal leads, throwing them away. Liverpool was obviously a change in tactical setup for Liverpool. Trent inside. Brilliant. I absolutely loving Trent inside. We've got a video on the Statman Dave YouTube channel, guys, about inverted fullbacks, why they become so popular. Make sure you go give it a view because nobody's looking at it at the moment. It's got about 5 views. You're better than that, guys. We've got some real good analysis. If you haven't watched it, make sure you go and watch it. But I imagine all you legends have already done that, so I don't need to say that. But how Liverpool changed it in the second half, opened Arsenal up after Arsenal being super dominant. Then the West Ham game where Arsenal lost composure and Thomas Partey, an absolute stinker. Poor performance from Thomas Partey, who's been one of Arsenal's, most productive players this season. I'd probably go Jorginho, to be quite honest, against the Southampton for Arsenal. I think we're at that point where you've got to be really cutthroat. And Arteta, that performance from Partey absolutely stank. 1 out of his 3 tackles won in the match. Dribble passed twice, 0 dribbles completed. One of those ones, of course, came for that first goal. Declan Rice pressed him, lost his head, lost the ball. And that's something that Arsenal cannot afford to do right now. That is a big problem. And they really need to sort themselves out, Arsenal, from that perspective. It's simply not good enough. So in terms of Arsenal this evening, facing Southampton, bottom of the Premier League. So it should be all good. One of the big concerns for Arsenal has been the absence of William Saliba. I think William Saliba has been Arsenal's best centre-back this season. Gabriel has looked very, very poor in comparison to him. I mentioned then, I probably would drop Thomas Partey. Only though, from an injury perspective, if Zinchenko's not back. I think if Zinchenko's not back, I think Arsenal, as we mentioned previously, should be going for Tierney as the wide forward in the final third, then bringing Jorginho into the pivot and having a double pivot of Partey and Granit Xhaka, building in their classic kind of 3-2-5 shape and throwing, Tierney high up the pitch. Tierney in this inside position, not good enough. Tierney wide, fantastic footballer. So that's what I'd be looking at from an Arsenal perspective. If Zinchenko's fit, Partey to the bench, Zinchenko into this inverted position to join Jorginho, then ruffling it around and having potentially throwing in a Fabio Vieira. Big fan of Fabio Vieira. I don't think he's played enough football. I think at times Granit Xhaka has been very poor for Arsenal. I think the performance against West Ham was one of Granit Xhaka's less impactful games. So rotate the team and get it out. If Zinchenko's fit, which we'll have a quick look at the injury news right now, guys. You've got to go with this 11. Get the attacking side out. Blow them away. City showed that you can blow teams away in the opening 30 minutes and then it's game over. Arsenal keep getting 2-0 leads. They need to score that third goal. Really, really important. So the news for Zinchenko for Arsenal fans and obviously Manchester United fans now, because we have to switch allegiance and support them so City don't win the Premier League. Arteta said on the 20th of April, so 2 days ago, we'll see that one as well. Not certain. It's a muscle injury, so it needs time to heal. It is a groin/hip/pelvic injury. Potential return 26th of the 4th, 2023. So he'll be out this game. So it will potentially be the other strategy that we mentioned before. No Fabio Vieira. Tierney coming in as the attacking fullback, and it being Jorginho and Partey. I think they've got to go Jorginho Partey They've got to change that attacking structure because Partey was so poor against West Ham, and Southampton press, as we know, 4-4-2 squeeze, so we know that's going to be the case. Guys, get into the chat. Let me know what you think about that as well. Just jumping back in there as well. If you want to be a complete neutral, yes, Arsenal are clearly the instinct I'll have. Much better story to follow. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to play neutral heads at the moment. How do Arsenal get over line from a tactical perspective? I think having this variation, Alex, in their play of changing that build-up, of having the two DMs to really control the game. You know, Zinchenko is fantastic at that role, but Jorginho is a better passer of the football. And having Martinelli closer to Jesus creates this kind of like a little bit like a front two in a sense. You're slightly changing it from a tactical perspective, where at times it's almost like Gabriel Jesus is playing inside right, Martinelli inside left, and it's a little bit of a false nine. It means Odegaard's going to get more possession in these types of areas to find the passes in behind the defence for the likes of Tierney, for Saka, but also for Martinelli and Jesus to carry. That's what I would say, and the variation in it is important. Obviously for Arsenal as well, you know, the likes of Trossard coming in and out the side could be another one, you know, fitting in, you know, multiple attackers. If it's not Jorginho, then go with Odegaard deep. I think one of those players needs to be deep, and then you get another attacker in. You know, this being Trossard playing number 10, Arsenal defending with a back four, with Trossard and Jesus as the two, you know, forward players. That's how it would work, you know, in an attacking sense. Trossard drops deep to get on the ball. You've got Saka, Martinelli inside, and you've got Tierney. I think this is a development that Arsenal need to potentially look at as well. That's a lot of attackers in the side. They've got to have that at home. That's what I would say from that perspective. Let's have a look at the some other talking points for Arsenal. Business end of the season. Arsenal obviously can't afford to drop the points at this stage of the season. Back-to-back draws. Obviously, the consecutive 2-goal leads in the Premier League games. Arsenal could move 7 points clear, though. City do have 2 games in hand. In the 2011-12 season, Manchester City overcame a 12-point gap with 12 games remaining. This season, they'd close a gap of 7 points with 8 games remaining to play. Arsenal need to win all of their remaining games, and they win the league. It is that classic cliche. They are in their destiny is within their own hands. Talking about destiny, Southampton's destiny for next season is going to be the Championship. I think it could be a good reset for them. I think this is something that they needed for a bit of time. I'd give Ruben Selas a bit of time to see what he can do. They currently sit rock bottom of the Premier League. Only 7 teams in the history of the Premier League have accumulated a worse points tally. Southampton have a better away record than home, but they've lost the same amount of home games as they've lost away games, but they've won 4 away compared to 1 at home. They've only scored 24 goals this season, the joint lowest total alongside Forest and Everton. Southampton are over-reliant on set pieces. 13 of their 24 goals have come from set pieces, which is a pretty bad record. They're just not good enough this season. They're really not. I like the likes of Carlos Alcaraz. I think long-term is going to be a fantastic footballer for Southampton. Sulemana as well, got a lot of potential, 21 years old. Bella Kotchap in there as well. I think he's going to get picked up. I'd take him at Man United. Bella Kotchap, I think he's a fantastic footballer. Same with Salisu. I think he's got big potential, but they're simply not good enough. You know, James Ward-Prowse will do a great job for Arsenal, for Liverpool, for Manchester United. Great player, but it does look like they're going to go down. Arsenal, on the flip side, score a lot of goals. They've scored 15 goals in the last 4 games at home, scoring 3 in each. They've scored 74 goals in the Premier League. Only City have scored more with 78. If Gabriel Jesus scores against Southampton, he will have 10. There'll be 4 players, that have scored 10 plus goals for Arsenal this season. Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard, and Jesus. It'd be the only second time that this has happened in the Premier League. Of course, I think City was the other time. Now, Jesus scored 4 in his last 7 games. He is absolutely flying, and he is the danger man to watch right now. Really, really playing well, Gabriel Jesus. They are my thoughts for this game, guys. But get your score predictions in. Friday Night Football is back, baby. Get those little score predictions in. I can't wait. I'm going to go to the pub to watch this. We're going to celebrate one of my pals' birthdays. We're going to get a little food, get a little bite to eat, get to the pub and watch it. Not on 5 Live tomorrow. So, you know, all good. That midfield is so lightweight. They need Xhaka again, like I think getting a Jorginho in there from a ball-playing perspective is probably what I'd say. Jorginho party base has got enough strength for me, enough quality in there. One of the issues has been Rob Holding's performances without William Saliba. I think that's definitely something to come from, but I think Arsenal need to attack in this game. They need to have quality on the ball. If you can keep the ball away from the opponent, you don't need that. You don't need that physicality, Tom. You don't need that problem of being lightweight. City have done that time and time again, and that's something that we mentioned on Monday. Arsenal need to be better at slowing games down. When the opponents get a little bit of a, alley inside of them, a little bit of let's do this, Arsenal need to get the foot on the ball and just keep possession. And that's why I feel Jorginho coming into this team, very, very important. James, has Orsic played much for them? No. Unfortunately not. I like Orsic, but looks like he's going to go back to Dynamo Zagreb. In there, Croatian football obviously on the up. Hajduk Split are playing in the Europa Youth League this evening at 5 versus Milan. If you want to watch a game, it's free to watch on the UEFA website. Would I take Kyle Walker-Peters at United? Probably not. I don't think he's at the top level. I like him. I think he's a really good player, but not for United. DJ Hammer is going to go 4-0 to Arsenal. Jesus 2, Saka, Martinelli. Radu's going to go 2-0 Arsenal. Andrew's going to go 3-0. James is going to go for a cheeky little 4-0. Ed saying a complete rebuild for next season for Southampton. I think at least a dozen players will leave. Yeah, I think so. Reports are that the academy is absolutely flying at the moment as well, and we've not seen any of those players be integrated, which is a big, big shame in the chat. Ed, going from Saliba to Holding is like going from Alicia to Maguire or Badashile to Koulibaly. When your partner's weakener means that you've got to overcompensate. Yeah, I think that he puts Saliba really high in my, I think he's been Arsenal's best defender this season. I think he's been fantastic. I think he's he's got to be team of the season, 100% for me. Right, good score predictions. Ed's going to go 2-0 Arsenal as well. Thanks for everyone getting involved with that. Let's move our attention to the FA Cup, one of the most historic competitions in the world of football. We've got 2 semi-finals at Wembley this weekend. Manchester City on Sunday facing Sheffield United, and Brighton versus Manchester United. Manchester City, of course, they've absolutely cruised through their Champions League quarter-final against one of the strongest opponents, beat Bayern Munich 3-0 at home, and then they were relatively impressive away at Bayern. Upamecano, one of my boys, had a bit of a stinker. I'm still holding his stock though, guys. Don't worry about that. 24 years old. He's going to come back stronger. City probably could have won this game at a canter though. There was obviously the red card just offside early on in the game when Haaland spanned through. There then was obviously a little bit of a later situation where Haaland missed a penalty. But City look very, very good. In the FA Cup this season, they have absolutely panned teams. The last game against the team from the Championship, 6-0 Haaland with a hat-trick. Julian Alvarez with 2. I genuinely think that if they beat the best team in the Championship 6-0, sorry Blades in the chat, it's going to be a beating. I think there's going to be far too much quality. City are getting into their end of season flow in there. Sheffield United, of course, this season sits second in the Championship. Again, Burnley 10 points clear. City beat Burnley 6-0. Sheffield United have got some City players as well. There's been a lot of talk of Jason McAtee through the academy. He's been a really good prospect for them. 8 goals and 3 assists from midfield from just 17 starts. He looks like a star for the future. And Tommy Doyle will definitely play Premier League football as well. Really good footballer. Whether it's going to be at Man City, I'm not 100%, but he's got real quality in possession, controlling the play and so forth. I do believe both of those lads are cup tied. Get into the chat, guys, if that is correct for the FA Cup. Let's have a little look here. Yeah, so both of them won't play, which is a shame. I think both of them have been very, very good for Sheffield United this season. So that is a big, big shame. But I do think City will be far too good for them. I think when we're looking at the classic things, it's the freak of nature that's one of the main problems for any team facing Man City at the moment. Haaland is in the form of his season in terms of goals. That is absolutely disgusting. 5 + 3, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 goals in his last 6 games. Is 14, is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 8, 10, 11. Yeah, 14, Dave. Good mathematics. Get the fucking... Let's go. Language. Sorry, guys. It slipped out. But he scored 14 goals in his last 6. 48 goals in all comps. 39% of City's goals in all competitions this season. He averages 12 touches per goal in the Champions League this season. He's taken 90 shots in the league, which is the most of his career so far in a single league season. He scored 29% of his shots this season, the second best chance conversion of his career, with a minimum of 10 appearances. He has been flying, guys. He's been scary. And when you combine that with Kevin De Bruyne, that's got 23 assists in all competitions, which is his best ever for a single season at Manchester City, you start to get a little bit scared when you play him. And obviously Kevin De Bruyne has assisted Haaland 8 times in the league this season. No Man City has ever assisted another Man City more in a single season. Kevin De Bruyne, Haaland, game, set, match for me, guys. Score predictions, get in the chat for this game. Uh-oh. Yeah, DJ Hammer, I'm finito. Gonna have to mortgage myself. Sorry, guys. Again, naughty. Get your score predictions in for this game. Manchester City's game with Sheffield United, because I think it could be a 6. It could be a 7. It could be an 8 or a 9. But I hope not. I hope Sheffield United win. That's what I want. That's what you guys want. Maybe you're City fans. Look, everyone's welcome in this chat. City have been playing some really good stuff this season. For me, I do prefer the City of old with a false 9, but that's my personal preference. James, straight away in the chat with a humdinger of a score. 34-0. Wow. Will you do a Champions League semi-final? Clergyman, we will definitely, as we go through closer to the games. Got a little bit of a 2-week break. So at the moment, in terms of who I think is going to go through, I think it will be a Real Madrid Inter Milan final is what we're going to go with, guys. Real Madrid Inter Milan final. The last little derbies. Inter have won the last 2 games. They beat them in Serie A 1-0. I just think this Inter team just stick in games. So I think Inter versus Real Madrid final, guys. Ed, 4-1 City, praying for a 1-0 Sheffield United. But yeah, definitely Clergy will go into that in further detail as it comes through. Andrew Miller's going to go for a 34-1. Guys, you think Sheffield United are scoring here? Let's go. Let's absolutely go. But yeah, that's that game. Let's move back to away from the old Champions League. As much as it has been... not the best tournament this season. Let's focus on that FA Cup other semi-final on Sunday. I'll be there, guys. So don't you worry your little heads. The lads are going to get a kick up the arse if they're not performing. Man United versus Brighton. The last big game for Man United season, to be quite honest. This is a humongous game for United. If United lose this, that's pretty much season over in a sense of, there's not much going on. With them, which will be super frustrating because it's been a good season. That's the real annoyance of this. Real annoyance. Let me just tactically set up the Reds and Brighton as well. So I think we've got to have a little bit of a change in system potentially for United. We've got Solly. I can't wait to see Matoma live as well, guys. I'm so excited for that. I'm such a nerd. Jeez, Dave, come on. You're better than that. I'm actually not. So Brighton, let's take a look at how they have lined up in recent weeks. There's been some injuries over the last few games. So where are we at? Pascal Gross in midfield. Joel Veltman obviously went off. And who came on for Joel Veltman? And Siso. He was fantastic against Chelsea, wasn't he? And Siso. Again, another one off Brighton's production line of scouting. What a rocket. And Siso. go. And then we had McAllister deep. That's the annoying part about it, is that I quite like McAllister playing high against United because I think he's very, very good deep. Right, let's knock over. Why are you in Real Madrid over City? I just think Real Madrid have got it mentally. Carlo Ancelotti. I think there's, Vinicius Jr. There's a lot of chances that Bayern Munich had wide against City over the two legs. Vinny, Rodrigo are flying. Vinny is the best player in the Champions League this season for me. Directly involved in 12 goals, was it? Great season. Right, let's have a look at the tactics, though. Get your team lineups in as well. Man United are likely to play a 4-2-3-1 as we expect. Midfield, Bruno deep in my preference. Weghorst through the middle. Anthony in there as well. Could potentially see it changed up with Marcus Rashford through the middle and playing high. So, again, it's the first part for United is who plays at the back. I think Luke Shaw looked like he took a knock against Sevilla. Was limping around. His knee looked like a potential issue. So, he might not be fit as well. But I also think with him fit, I'd actually prefer him to play centre-half. I'd prefer to Luke Shaw to come into a centre-back and then go with probably... Oh, yeah, we'd probably have to go with Victor Lindelof. Big shout out to Sam Ford in the chat. Maguire suspended. So I'd be going with Luke Shaw left centre-back, Lindelof right centre-back, Wan-Bissaka, Diogo Dalot, Casemiro, Bruno, Fred. And we'll talk about that, why Fred high a little bit later, and why no Sabitzer, why no Eriksen, and then Anthony, Wout Weghorst, and of course Marcus Rashford. In terms of Brighton this season, they've been brilliant. One of the big parts of their game is this box midfield that controls things, allows their wing-backs to kind of get high and join the attacking structure. It's fantastic. It's very, very good. Tactically, really nice to watch. At times, obviously they build up with kind of these 6 players. So I suppose for Man United, it's about being aggressive in the right moment. I think one of the big things that United want to do is sort of catch out your McAllisters and your Caicedos in build-up from the blind side. So, if a player's receiving off dunk, let's say, hitting him on the blind side and trying to sneak in and nick the ball. Chelsea did that quite well with Conor Gallagher pressing, hence why I think Fred at number 10 for United is going to be big for United. But it's got to be compact. Can't allow Brighton to get set and play through. If Martial and Shaw out, Martial limped off as well. Going to go with Casemiro at centre-back. Eriksen in midfield with Fred. That's definitely another option. I probably would prefer Marcel Sabitzer, I think, as the holder, if we're going to go with that. So Sabitzer, Bruno. We tried that already, didn't we? But yeah, Casa centre-half probably if they're not fit. I'd go with that. I'd also start Weghorst because of his work rate as well in this game over Martial, independent of injury or not. In there. So it's big. It's big. With the Brighton side as well as just great quality. Why I kind of prefer McAllister playing high against United is because McAllister is very, very good deep. I think McAllister's more of a number 6 than a number 10. I think he's much better when he's spreading the play, when he's dictating the tempo. Really good one touch as well. One thing to watch out for United, if you squeeze too late, again, the timings need to be spot on with the press. If you squeeze too late, he will literally just bypass you and your press will get broken and you'll have 8 players out of the game. And United should probably squeeze in this kind of 4-1-4-1 structure. Bruno Fernandes on Caicedo, Fred on McAllister. But if you can nick it in that position, there's so much space for United to break into. It's so important to break that box. That Brighton box basically is the entire team. That's how they get through. And if you stop that first box, they can't get onto the second box. The second box is always the creative box. And that's the problem. If they play through the first box and get to Enciso or they get to Danny Welbeck, there is big problems because of Solly Marsh and, of course, Matoma, who both have been creme de la creme this season. So stopping that first box has got to be the first situation United have to deal with, and pressing at the right moment, catching them in that position, because there's so much space to break in behind the Brighton team. And they've been very, very good. The performances this season under Zerbi have been excellent, but we can see how they utilise their possession play and how they utilise their kind of the deep block, but how it looks like a diamond. So obviously it is a box here, but it does move into a diamond average position. There is rotation with it, and we can see that with the average positions versus Bournemouth, See that diamond in midfield, 25, 10, 13, 28. So Pascal Gross, Alexis McAllister, and that system, that shape there, that average positions is just a thing of beauty. Clear back four, clear holding midfielder, 2 8s in a sense of the freedom of movement. And when you look at that, this was a game where, of course, they had Joel Veltman in the team who's been injured. So it was more Veltman at fullback and then Gross deep and McAllister high. But it's kind of that rotation that at times you will see after they play through the first box, you'll see McAllister and Gross move into the attacking unit. And that is like, this team is... It's absolutely beautiful. It really is. And you've got to stop that first box to stop the second situation of them having a 5-on-5 on our back line, which we do not want because transitionally United have been very, very poor. And stopping them in that position is important because Brighton have got 5 different players with 10-plus goal contributions in all competitions this season. Solly March, Mitoma, Pascal Gross, Alexis McAllister and Ferguson, who I believe will miss the game with injury, which I think is really good news. I think Danny Welbeck's a fantastic option, don't get me wrong. But Ferguson will be a couple of weeks out. So they're both back. Veltman and Ferguson are out. So we will see what I had previously with and Ciso coming into that number 10 position. McAllister back in a cheeky box. And Pascal Gross at right fullback will be the situation. So I think United have got to really stop that. You're thinking the quality that they've got. Brighton still have got the ability to produce. Karu Mitoma's 16 goals plus assists means he's played part in 23% of Brighton's goals in all competitions this season. He has been so good. I really can't wait to watch him. I like, in a really weird way, I'm so excited to watch him at Wembley. His ability to like beat you in the dribble, little cut, break. We saw him do it really well against Chelsea. It's a really nice moment where he just like did one player, then came inside, did another one. He's a fantastic player, but United could have Aaron Wan-Bissaka that could deal with that really, really well. With from a defensive position, we know Wan-Bissaka can win challenges. We know he can win tackles. Possession-wise, yes, he's not great, but moving forward. Young, just how good is Gross? Can he play everywhere? Every manager prefers to play him. Gross is one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. He is so good. Can play inverted right back, can play wide, can play number 10, can play attacking midfield, can play central midfield, can play deeper midfield. In terms of chances created since he joined the Premier League, only Kevin De Bruyne has got more. He is fantastic. Very, 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 very good. And I just think he's been sublime in the Premier League since he's joined, and he's definitely going to be a threat for United in open play, in close play. The assist he got last week against Chelsea was just brilliant. The way that he checked back onto his weaker left foot, then just crossed it for the back post for Welbeck to attack was just sublime. Absolutely brilliant. Talking about Danny Welbeck, obviously ex-United, lovely guy. Would love for him not have so many problems with injuries in his career. Marcus Rashford, of course, came through the same youth setup and the same grassroots. Fletcher Moss, go and check him out. But Rashford's been involved in 36 goals in all competitions. His best ever return and more than any other Manchester United player. He is so important for United. But I like that battle with Pascal Gross. I like that matchup. I think that is an advantage for United. I really do believe that. So having him flying in form is going to be very, very important. But also Bruno Fernandes. How poor were Man United without Bruno Fernandes? Against Sevilla, his value is massive. United looked like a different team without him. He's created 88 chances in Europe's top 5 leagues this season. No player has managed more. I think the big thing with United in this game is creating the box in midfield with the 3, but allowing Bruno to drop a little bit deeper and get on the ball in these kind of deep areas to overload the press from Brighton. It's very aggressive, but it's not easy to bypass. Obviously, they're a top team, but it's good to bypass. In a sense, United could build with actually the flat 4 and then Bruno dropping in as Delo comes wide. I think one of the big things that Liverpool that Chelsea kind of showed is if you can work it to a midfielder and then play forward when pulling Brighton to one side of the pitch, you can find that inside pass. Bruno linking with Rashford is very, very, very big. You can overload their pressing structure. I think one of the big things that Brighton struggle with is diagonal movement. Diagonal movement with the ball, diagonal movement off the ball. When I talk about that, it's when we've played that pass and Marcus Rashford's received. The diagonal movement of cutting back across the pitch. From both flanks, United need to carry the ball across. Brighton are susceptible for that. You cut inside, you drive across the line, create a chance, get a shot away. Very, very important. Those diagonal moves just cut through their team. You cut their front four out of the game. You start to cut midfielders out of the game. You basically isolating Rashford with a centre-half, exactly what you want. Similar with Anthony, who's been United's best player in recent weeks without Marcus Rashford being out. Cutting across, perfect. But also the diagonal runs across a backline, making that run across and then spinning in, making the run across from fullback and then spinning in. So Weghorst can make that move, but also Sir Marcus of Rashford, making that move across the defence and then running in behind. I think it's very, very important. Could be found by someone like Anthony, someone like Bruno in there. Very, very important. Brighton are open to cutbacks as well. Their defence is very aggressive in terms of getting back, but they have sort of situations where your defence has dropped. You've taken it away with the runners. Let's say the ball's here. Anthony's in possession. There is massive space for the cutback. So arriving late, we saw Harry Kane do it really, really well in the recent game against Spurs for Brighton. Weghorst arriving late in the box, open it up. Cutbacks against the collapsed defence. The transition important. Overlaps and underlaps very, very important in the final third. And when we talk about underlaps and overlaps with Man United, with the shape they should play, it's not going to be the fullbacks that are doing that. It's going to be the central midfielders, the Freds, the Anthonys. On the Brighton backline, one of their the ways that Chelsea got at them was a fullback making a move in the final third, Chilwell on the left, Reece James on the right. What United need to do is provide the width from central midfield. So the central midfielders going out, of course, Fred on the right-hand side, and then on the left-hand side with Sir Marcus of Rashford, Bruno Fernandes making that move. Or, other way around, Bruno receiving wide and Rashford making that overlap. Because that creates up big space for the cutback situation we mentioned previously. Lot of tactical information here, guys. But guys, getting the score predictions in right now. Right this second. It's been a great old stream today, guys. Make sure you send it to your pals as well, because this is going to be live on the channel before the game. Again, the game is on Sunday, so make sure you get involved there. Hope to see Shaw at centre-back on Sunday. You and me both, my friend. Bruno played against Liverpool, Newcastle, Brentford. The whole team folds under hostile environments. Sorry, I also think we had a chance creation problem yesterday, which Bruno Fernandes was a big reason why that was an issue. But, Nicholas, good to take your opinions on. I genuinely thought Lindelof played well against Seville. I'd agree with that guarded view. Gav, if you could pick one Brighton player for United, who would it be? I'd kill for Ferguson or Caicedo. Caicedo, Gav, every day of the week. Every single day. Hi, Breeze, local Badger. Big up, Dave. Been celebrating Eid. Well, Eid Mulbrak? Is that the right thing? Get in the chat. Tell me what the right thing is to say. I think that's right. But if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But happy Eid is what I mean to say. Have a great Eid. It's going to be a good time. You missed me talking about why Man United fans need to start supporting Arsenal. But I am on the Arsenal hype train. So come on Arsenal today. Big performance. Rowett's going 2-1. Guarded View's going to go 2-1 United. Young Warthog's going to go 2-1 Brighton. Nicholas going to go 3-2. Nikos, is going to go 3-2 to Manchester United. Good score predictions. I think United have got this, we've had a bit of a tough problem, but I think they've got this. Sir Marcus of Rashford is back. 36 goal involvements. If he's fit over the two legs against Sevilla, they've not got a chance. Not a chance. Hey? But yeah, great time. Really, really good stream today, guys. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you smash like as well. How many likes have we got on this stream today, guys? Come on. We're on 51. Come on. Smash that like button. Hit it. Come on. Go. Spot on. Yeah, let's go. But yeah, Brighton United, big game in the FA Cup. Arsenal, obviously, we did a preview. Make sure you go and rotate the stream back. Highbury's Young Badger, and check that out because we went through all the tactical side of it there. Eid Mubarak. Is that right? Yeah? Big cheers. And everyone enjoyed the game. I'm going to get a little sauced up. Going to bring some flares with me. It's going to be sensational. In the TRA, going to be with all the boys singing some songs. So let's hope United give Brighton a good beating this weekend. Any Brighton fans in the chat, look, you've had your fun this season. You got one of the greatest managers in the entire world right now, playing the best football I've ever seen a Brighton team play. Look, you have that, right? We need to defeat Manchester City in the final. Massive. The Reds versus the Sky Blues. Could be a big final. Guys, much love. We'll see you all very soon. On the Statman Dave Clips channel. Much love to you, Mike, as well. Nice for getting involved. And yeah, do share the stream to your pals. Smash that like button. What are we on likes-wise? We're on 58, so we've had a few. Come on, you're better than that, guys. You are. But much love. We'll see you all soon on the Statman Dave Clips channel. And so much exciting stuff to come for this season, guys. We are in the business end of the season. But see you all, guys, very soon. Goodbye, my friends. Goodbye.